This video is sponsored by Juju Energy. Stay tuned at the end of the video for a quick word from our sponsor. What's up, Wolfpack? I'm NoctWolfe. Today, we're going to continue our audiobook reading of Pathfinder's Quest, the Apex Legends lore book. We'll be reading through Chapter 1 of the book, where Pathfinder goes to meet with Lifeline. I'll do my best to do voices for the characters, but if it's off a little bit, don't hold it against me. Sorry in advance if I butcher it. But before we jump in, make sure to like this video if you dig this kind of content, subscribe if you want to see more, maybe hit that notification bell if you're feeling frosty. Chapter 1. Hey, Shay. Pathfinder Memory Log, Day 1. Today, I hit the open road on a transport in space to meet my friend AJ Shay. But her thousands of #1 fans call her Lifeline. The message I found gave me the first batch of clues that I think can lead me to my creator. There was one clue that looked familiar, and that's Chevrex. After having my life saved a number of times by AJ's heel drone Doc, I remember reading its system signature as Chevrex. Maybe she can help. Hey, maybe she's my creator. Clue box. Transmission clues. Chevrex. Something to do with Lifeline's heel drone. The future of the Outlands. Dr. Amelie The event. Aleki. Iris. Self-motivation quote. Searching. One result found. Only a life lived for others is a life worthwhile. Albert Einstein. Lifeline biographical information from the Apex games. Real name, AJ Shay. Age, 24. Homeworld, Samathi. Tactical ability, Doc Heel Drone. Passive ability, Combat Medic. Ultimate ability, Care Package. AJ Shay, aka Lifeline, isn't somebody you would expect to find in the Apex games. The child of wealthy war profiteers, she left home when she learned of the damage her family had caused and enlisted in the Frontier Corps, a humanitarian organization that aids frontier communities in need. She's since devoted her life to helping others and joined the Apex games to fund the Frontier Corps with her winnings. Since no one in the games is innocent, they all know what they signed up for, and every one of her victories means help for those in need. Lifeline has no problem engaging in the popular blood sport. Or so she tells herself. She may seem sarcastic and callous, but deep down she wants to help people and make the world a better place. If that means taking down a few people in the process, so be it. Interview transcript with Lifeline. Hello, Lifeline. It's so fun to meet with you while neither of us is fighting, Lifeline. Thank you. Not a problem, my sweet metal friend. And you can call me AJ. That's my name, AJ Shay. Wow, I didn't know you had a name. Cool, AJ. Ain't that often that us legends get to talk about something that doesn't involve the games. Or Mirage. It's always just us boasting about wins, reminiscing about those who couldn't make it past the first ring, or egging each other on while we wait for the drop. I remember the first time Crypto came on board. Never seen anyone shut up Mirage so quickly. Yes, my best friend does talk a lot. I love that. Right, so what brings you my way? Need some patching up? Someone hurt? I don't know. It's possible that my creator is hurt. I haven't heard from them in forever. Still on that search, huh? To each their own, I guess. I wish I was more like you and didn't know my family. Of course, I wasn't always like this. I got to be grateful, I guess, in some way. I had everything I needed, everything I wanted, but at some big cost. That's the Chevrex way. Chevrex? I saw that on your drone, and in a recording I heard about my creator. I can't believe everything we went through with my parents and it led you right back here. But of course it's on Doc. It's where we both came from. My family owns Chevrex, which I used to believe focused on safety and security. That's how they sold themselves to potential clients. It didn't matter who they were or on which side they were on. Chevrex made them feel like they had just the right support to give. The people of the Outlands didn't know much about support, and I don't blame them. Because in times of war, you take all the support you can get. It's been in the family for generations. But it was my parents who really took the thing to nowhere pretty. To them, the wars ain't nothing but a paycheck. Chevrex Inc. AI Logic. Chevrex Inc. was originally founded in 2445 as AI Logic, one of the first companies established in the frontier. Opening as a small shop in the harbor district of Angel City on the planet Angelia, AI Logic provided services to local businesses through repairing, updating, and reprogramming electronics and robotics. Through the generations, the company evolved with its surroundings, developing and specializing in drone technology while expanding beyond Angelia. Proudly forming a partnership with Kodai Industries, AI Logic supplied every colonized planet in the frontier with their #1 product, security monitoring systems drones, which function as security cameras, motion detectors, and communication and recording devices. As the IMC expanded beyond the frontier to the Outlands, AI Logic was first in line to support those citizens who undertook the year-long expedition to the unexplored region. Today, the AI Logic Outlands chapter, Chevrex Inc., supplies the Outlands with more than 100 outlets and its flagship factory on the beautiful planet Samathi. End of search results. Lifeline interview transcript continued. I've heard all about these wars ever since I woke up, but nobody has really told me about them. It ain't exactly the most fun topic to chat about, unless you're Bangalore. I bet that could go on all day. But of course, she's not on the best side of history. Not to say there's actually a good side. But it ain't no secret the IMC had some part in the 4 wars. Corporate wars, Titan wars, Frontier War, and even the Civil War out here in the Outlands. They didn't even break a sweat in that one. Wow, those are a lot of wars. How is anyone still alive? I ask myself that every day, Path. These wars go back quite some time, too. All about power. All about greed. When I found out my family's company was profiteering off of the Frontier War, I spent the next year teaching myself everything there was to know about what started the whole deadly thing, I guess. You could say I was trying to convince myself that what my parents were doing was for something good. But it didn't really turn out the way I hoped. Maybe that's how Hammond himself would feel if he saw this place today. Hammond? I've heard of Hammond Robotics. Maybe he's my creator. You want to stop back there, huh? Give this a scan. It's all I've found in my search for the truth. Port connected. A.J. Shea's tablet. History of the Frontier. Years 2122 to 2192. The impact and rise of Hammond Engineering. In 2122, Sheffield's asteroid impacts St. Louis, Missouri, Earth, nearly causing a human extinction-level event. An international scientific team is dispatched to the impact site led by Dr. Sam Sheffield, for whom the asteroid and the resulting canyon are named. After a 24-hour expedition deep into the impact site, Dr. Heinrich Henry Hammond emerges. Reports indicate his companions died from exposure to a powerful unknown element, dubbed Element X. 5 years after the Sheffield impact, Hammond presides over an influential international corporation called Hammond Engineering. With exclusive access to Element X, they make radical, rapid breakthroughs in the contemporary understanding of physics. Meanwhile, the strain of climate change and overpopulation takes a toll on Earth's resources, and the quality of life degrades for all but the wealthy. The prospect of leaving Earth to alleviate these problems becomes popular, but no practical solution exists to make it a reality. Equipped with privileged scientific insights, Hammond seizes the opportunity to pioneer new advances in interstellar colonization, communication, and commercialization. In 2187, Hammond Engineering unveils the world's first operational interstellar jump drive, which allows spacecraft to cross vast distances at velocities approaching light speed. The first jump drive expedition uncovers habitable planets in nearby star systems. Today, these are known as the core systems. Years 2192 to 2292. The core systems. Fast fortunes are made by harvesting and transporting resources with jump drive-equipped ships. Hammond Engineering, already a leader in advanced robotics, produces rare alloys from the ores gained in their interstellar mining operations. These are used to build robotic mechanisms for a variety of industrial functions. As Heinrich Hammond nears the end of his long natural life, he arranges a gradual drawdown of his involvement in Hammond Engineering. However, Hammond Engineering remains a key player in the core systems, where corporations maintain trade and communication routes vital to the region's survival. Attempts to regulate these corporations through central interplanetary governance are made on several occasions, but ultimately fail due to the organization's political and economic sway. Hammond Engineering anticipates eventual hostilities with many rival corporations and begins secretly orchestrating a series of political machinations, business mergers, and acquisitions within the core systems. These initiatives span nearly a century, ending in the formation of the system-spanning conglomerate known as the Interstellar Manufacturing Corporation, or IMC. All Hammond-branded businesses, including Hammond Engineering, became its subsidiaries. Years 2292 to 2442. The Frontier. The atmosphere of this period is one of corporate feudalism. Tensions rise as competition for resources grows among the core systems' powerful corporate entities. Freelance explorers are hired to find new sources of raw materials. These expeditions lead to the discovery of the Frontier, a far-off zone of star systems containing an unusually dense number of habitable planets. Travel to the Frontier exceeds the distance traversed in any previous human expedition by orders of magnitude. The trip requires an enormous investment in technology and personnel that only a handful of corporations can afford. As the galaxy's leading authority on interstellar exploration, the IMC orchestrates its most ambitious mission to date, deploying fleets of pathfinding colony ships to establish routes to the Frontier. This begins the new space race. During this period, many ships are lost to accidents, equipment failure, or unknown causes. However, some expeditions successfully make landfall and begin establishing the Frontier's first outposts. Along with the new wave of expeditions comes a massive increase in the development of robotic AI. To assist the settlers in building their colonies, Hammond Robotics develops a series of semi-autonomous farming equipment based on antique military exoskeletons. Described as glorified tractors in satirical news feeds of the time, they are better known today as Titans. Years 2442 to 2671. The Corporate Wars and Return to the Frontier. As frontier exploration continues, the IMC's resources are divided between supporting its interests in the core systems and its new ventures in the frontier. This division of focus is seen as weakness by its rival corporations, which launches a series of orchestrated attacks against the IMC that initiates the Corporate Wars. The IMC drastically scales back all investment in its frontier expeditions, leaving its colonists to their own devices. Over several generations of shifting intercorporate alliances and interplanetary wars, the IMC reasserts control over the core systems. The conflict yields significant leaps forward in technology, derived from the aggressive development of the first combat titans. However, the IMC's victory comes at a cost to the planets and people. Years of warfare left the core systems depleted of arable land and natural resources. There is yet again a strong demand for replenishment. To fulfill this demand, the IMC looks to its previously abandoned investment in the frontier. Its envoys discover that the descendants of the original IMC pioneers have prospered. Many more worlds have been colonized, and all have access to a bounty of natural resources. The IMC asserts eminent domain over the frontier, citing its investments dating back 350 years. It sends military fleets to establish control of the region, builds new manufacturing and mining operations, and displaces thousands of frontier citizens in the process. The colonies reject the IMC's claim to the region, As industrial production continues apace, diplomatic talks begin. Years 2671 to 2692. The Titan Wars. Datapad footnote. Titans. Titans are descendants of fledgling military exoskeletons. In addition to the obvious combat applications, unarmed Titans are used for labor in demanding industries like salvage and cargo transport. They are also used in special applications, such as deep space search and rescue, and are very effective in inhospitable environments. The use of Titans is widespread throughout the frontier, in combat and in civilian life. After years of failed diplomacy, the citizens of the frontier established the earliest form of the frontier militia. This new resistance grows in numbers and begins retaking contested lands using Titans and other war materials stolen from the IMC. The militia's many skirmishes with IMC garrisons become the opening salvo of the Titan Wars. The IMC mobilizes hundreds of thousands of soldiers from the core systems to occupy the frontier, rooting out militia enclaves and bringing to bear large numbers of state-of-the-art Titans. The Titan Wars strongly favor the IMC. The early militia's lack of unified leadership and antiquated military technology put it at a severe disadvantage. Within a few years, the IMC eliminates nearly all of the militia's forces. The planet Gridiron becomes the official center of IMC operations in the frontier, and home to the first Hammond Robotics Titan factory. The planet Demeter, a waypoint between the core systems and the frontier, acts as a crucial fueling station, colloquially referred to as the Gateway, for IMC reinforcements to make the final jump to Gridiron. The year 2700 and onward. The Frontier War. 15 years after the Titan Wars, the last militia fleet discovers a colony under siege by IMC hunter garrisons. The colony is led by former IMC pilot James McCallan, who had vanished into the untouched Yuma system after staging a mutiny 15 years prior. In exchange for help in evacuating the colonists, McCallan offers to provide the militia with support and intelligence to destroy the IMC's critical refueling station on Demeter. At the Battle of Demeter, McCallan outmaneuvers his former commanding officer, IMC Vice Admiral Graves, and sacrifices his own life to destroy the Gateway. Moved by his friend's dedication, Graves defects from the IMC and takes over McCallan's role, leading the militia to victory. With the destruction of the Demeter installation, IMC forces are cut off from reinforcements in the core systems. The militia regains its footing and claims a significant portion of frontier space, establishing the planet Harmony as Militia Central Command. There, the militia launches the Vanguard Initiative, an effort to produce frontier-made Titans as weapons to defeat the IMC. End of Lifeline tablet data. Resume interview transcript. Wow, a lot happened in 700 years.
You don't say. It's always measured by wars, though. After the militia took power, there was a final battle at the last IMC-controlled planet, Gridiron. And what happened next? Well, no one really knows.
It's a mystery. I have a lot of those.
I'm sure someone knows, but they ain't talking about it out loud. Anita's probably the closest. I'm sure she can fill you in. But all I really learned was that a blackout cut off all communication throughout the frontier. That was over a decade ago. No one really knows what happened, how the battle at Gridiron ended. Perhaps for maybe Anita. But even then, she was deeply affected by it. We all know that one day everything stopped. All the beacons the IMC built throughout the frontier went down. Just like that. One big blackout. Those who supported the militia were promised refuge, but no one came. The militia abandoned those people. They were no better than the IMC. Those poor people in the frontier were toyed with by both sides. That's why it's hard to say who's actually good, you know? Plenty of people cared for the militia, but plenty didn't. They didn't care much for the IMC either. It's hard to trust anyone who promises you everything. The IMC promised them safety and security, and then took all they had left. The militia promised them safety and security, then depleted all they had and disappeared. You can only promise what you can promise. There are limits, which is something the Frontier Corps taught me. You see, they stepped in when both sides were gone. They helped with the great migration of those left stranded in the frontier and brought them right here to the Outlands. Now, I'm not an expert in the Outlands. You can probably get more out of Gibby, Natalie, or your best friend, Wit.
I love him.
Yeah, we know you do. So if you're looking for more info in this whole area, I'd chat with them. But as for me, I grew up on Samathi, and that place, well, was a little more secluded than other planets.
I worked on Samathi once. I was a cook at a restaurant in Olympus's fine dining district.
No way! You worked at Tenmei? I used to go there all the time when I was little. But you know how expensive that place is. And the real problem with my family, we were rich. Sure, that wealth led to a pretty sweet upbringing. How many people do you know that had currency named after them? But having a share coin didn't really matter when I found out the money was actually from.
Oh no, did it come from happiness? Did it? Because that would be great.
Afraid not. It was definitely no birthday party, I'll tell you that much. But it was a party. I spent the early part of my life in a gown. I mean, don't get me wrong, I liked it. I looked good. I ate the best food. And the parties, they were something. I did have a good time. My parents used to throw these galas for their rich friends at least once a month. I didn't know at the time what the point of these parties were. I just knew I was there to look my best and entertain the kids. The Silvas used to come all the time.
That's Octane Silvas. You have an interesting friendship.
You're right, Path. Interesting is one word. Octavio Silva, or Octane, now that he's a legend. His family was friends with my family. The two of us have known each other for a good long time now. His parents didn't do business with mine, and they were just friends. The wealthy on Samathi tend to run in the same circles. We ran in the same circles. We went to the same private school, same friends' birthday parties, same everything. It was all fine back then, but when I changed, I guess everything changed. And it was that party when it all went down, when trust broke. I think I was 19. It was another monthly gala with people from Solace now to the fringe worlds. But this time my parents were celebrating the opening of Chev Rexing's new drone facility on Olympus. It was sort of a big deal, but none of that stuff ever interested me. It's probably why it all happened under my nose.
Pathfinder's notes. Frontier Corps. Founded in 2711, the Frontier Corps is a publicly funded volunteer program whose primary mission is to provide social, medical, and economic development support throughout the frontier, while promoting mutual understanding among citizens. Pathfinder's notes. Planet Samathi. Samathi can most effectively be described as a gated planet. The richest Outlands residents live here, and it's incredibly difficult for anyone from lower social classes to move up the socioeconomic ladder. The Dionysus Resort, an exclusive club frequented by only the most elite of the elite, is located on Samathi's single moon of the same name. The innovative research metropolis of Olympus rests in Samathi's lower atmosphere. Samathi's planetary government is an oligarchy governed by a council of its wealthiest residents, who of course send representatives to council meetings rather than attending in person, making it more of a diachology. It has no official military power, but conflicts are resolved by its citizens' personal armies. Interview transcript with Lifeline. Resume. Wow, so you and Octane have always been like this.
I guess you could say we were back in the day. Even after I found out the truth about my parents and left that life, Silva was the only one I kept in touch with. Although he was trapped in his family's wealth, he was not too bad at living his own life. He had a massive following on the feed and traveled all over the Outlands for thrill competitions. It's because of him I had the chance to leave. He knew why I wanted to. The night of the party, two of us stumbled upon the truth. That's the night where I saw Chevrex was actually doing. That's the night I learned who my parents really were. War profiteers. I was embarrassed, angry. I was changed. After that night, Silver was heading to Solace for a gauntlet competition, and he offered to bring me along. I wasn't ready to face my parents. I was disgusted with them and with myself. But most of all, I didn't know who I really was anymore. I figured the trip maybe would do me good, so I packed up a few things, and we chartered the first ship off planet. I had never been to Solace up until that point. Can you believe that? I sheltered myself. I mean, why would I have wanted to leave my home and everything I owned? Silver left because the kid got bored easily, but me, I thought I had it all. I was wrong, and Solace City shoved that in my face pretty quick. I remember the first thing we did was stop into the Paradise Lounge for a beverage. I had never gone into a place like that for any reason, but that old me was wrong and gone. I had a new start, and it was time to test that out.
Paradise Lounge is Elliot's bar. I've been there.
Right, so you know why we barely took 2 steps in before turning around. That place smelled like old boots and seawater. We didn't want to take the chance to catch, anything. Luckily, there was a music joint not far from that place. We sort of followed the sound. It was faster and carried much more of an edge that we were used to from Samathi. Well, at least more than I was used to. Silver always sought out new things like that. He could never sit still. Boredom is his greatest fear. I guess that's why he's got such an exciting personality. Which is probably why everyone was friends with him. Like the musicians playing near the Paradise Lounge. Apparently Silver did a racing competition on Gaia one year where the band performed. It worked out for me because they left me in awe. The musicians were just like the music. Raw, edgy, and real. To tell you the truth, Path, I didn't even know what a t-shirt was before then. I was used to gowns and dresses. But it was a new life. So it was time for a new look. I bought a shirt with the band's name on it. The Flyer Liars. For someone who just started to lose trust in everyone. It just felt right to fall in with that crew. I ended up staying behind with the band while Silver continued on to his competitions. He cared, and he still cares, a lot about his fans, so he had no problem moving on without me. I went on the road with the band for a bit, mostly around Solace. Karen KK Cool played the drums. She called it therapeutic, so I figured I'd pick up some sticks and try it. I loved it. Not saying it was my calling or anything, but big things came from that moment. I started a new life. I filled in on the drums every now and then when KK couldn't make a gig. I'd say about half a year went by, and I still hadn't spoken to my parents. It wasn't until the band got booked on Samathi that, for some sort of relief fundraiser for those lower class people who could never even come close to affording just the scraps at Tenmei. These were the type of people I never even knew existed because of my upbringing, and probably because of my ignorance too. But like I said, I was changed, and I saw it all now. I saw those people in need. I saw those struggling with the wealthy paraded around, making everything worse for everyone else. I was seeing those people who had lived just around the corner from me my entire life without me even bothering to look at them. That made me finally get the guts to say a word or two to my parents. And I did. I went home. I faced them. I told them that I didn't want nothing to do with the family's money anymore. They didn't really understand, but I didn't expect them to. Ha! And now I see that in time I've been gone, they've done the opposite of what I hoped. They dropped straight down the rabbit hole. I hope they realize how far they are gone before it's too late. I hope it wasn't too late for me.
You're a legend, like me.
Nah, Path. I'm no legend. I'm just trying to do my part. That's what I told my parents I wanted to do. I'm sure they thought I wanted to run away playing drums. Probably even give up and come back home. Wasn't a crazy thought. It's hard to forget where you come from.
I did.
Right, but you still want to know. There's probably something inside you that remembers. Not sure how you're programmed. I know my little doc's got himself a permanent memory processor. A Chevrolet Sync Special. My parents put a PMP on everything, so everyone knew where the product came from. No one could wipe that brand. They weren't even hiding the fact that they were playing both sides. I guess that's what fame and power does to ya, and why I wanted the opposite. I packed up whatever I could, a few shirts, some pictures, and Doc. I can't go anywhere without her. And I left that home and life for good. Made my way back to the Flyer Liars show. I still remember that feeling I had of, well, it ain't loneliness, but it ain't exactly fear. I think I was feeling empty. I wanted to say there was excitement, but there wasn't. I was still missing something. Like I said, that show was a fundraiser for the poor folks on Samathi. But what I didn't say was that it was run by the Frontier Corps. How about that, Path? I leave home to find my place, only to have it looking for me at home. Not saying you should stop looking for your creator or nothing, but it's just nice to think that maybe what you're looking for is waiting for you, one way or another.
I hope so. That's why I joined the Apex games. If my creator is looking for me, then maybe they could see me fight, or on a banner. That would be really cool.
I'm sure that would be something else. Change like that is good for ya. I know it was for me. It's funny, I joined the Corps to help people, but it helped me. I spent years working for the Corps. I put the lives of those in need ahead of my own. One person who I helped reached out not too long ago, which was sweet. A mercenary vet who now calls himself my #1 fan. Quite the honor. I know it to the core. We traveled all over the Outlands, even to the fringe worlds. We had no restrictions as to who could be helped. We weren't part of the syndicate or the treaty, so we didn't have to abide by any constraints.
What treaty?
I bet Gibraltar or Wit could probably give you some more info on that. I was too young in my own world on Somati, so I'm no expert on that stuff. All I've heard is the Civil War ended in the Outlands with some sort of treaty. It was about 10 years ago, or so, 27, 23. Those who didn't sign became the fringe worlds. And those poor folks have got it even harder, getting support from trade or whatever else they needed. That's why we came in. The Corps did what it could with donations and support from whoever wanted to help. But we definitely hit a money problem. Nothing like that could last forever.
I hope nothing lasts forever. Otherwise, that would mean my search may never end.
It'll end. Everything does. That's something I need to come to terms with. Because when the Corps started losing money, my first thought was to call my parents.
That sounds like it may have been a bad idea.
You're right. After knowing who they were, after knowing where that money come from, I couldn't. I knew they had it. I knew the money would have been a huge help, but I couldn't reach out to them.
But isn't that what family is for?
Families ain't always as good as they're supposed to be. I knew who they were, Path. That's important. It was important to me, just like it's important to you. Whoever your creator is, they're a piece of you. And whether that's good or bad, you gotta decide how to deal with it. I decided how to deal with mine, and that was to risk my life for that money. That's why I joined the games. I knew it was risky, dangerous. I even knew that what I was doing wasn't honorable. Fighting people for money. It was my dilemma, but people were counting on me. Those fighters were gonna fight with or without me. So I figured I better put my medical drain into some use for them while making money for the Corps.
I think it's honorable. I've always looked up to you, AJ, even though I'm taller.
No way. That's really nice of your Pat. I'm sure there's some truth to that somewhere. I don't think about it much. I just do what I do because I need to. It ain't much more complicated than that.
That's what I'm doing. I just want to find my creator, even if they are bad.
Nah, Pat, they can't be bad. I don't think you got a bad circuit in your entire body. Even if they are, that don't mean you are. That's what I learned from my family. Actually, Silver was the first one to say it. He may not seem it, but he's a smart one. Crazy, but smart.
It's good that you two are such good friends. I love friends.
We have our good months, our bad months. But we always find a way to get back to each other. True family always does. I bet he'd say the same.
Exciting! I'll ask him.
I'm sure you'll come across him in this quest of yours. I'm sorry I can't give you the info you want. I wish I could. It would be nice to know what my parents' company had to do with your creator. But whether it's good or bad, never forget who you are.
I won't, unless my memory gets wiped like before.
If that happens, then I'll tell you who you are. Till then, your best chance is to stick to the Outlands. The Chevrex Inc. name only started in this part of the galaxy. So if they had something to do with your creator, then it's here.
That's great to know. Thank you, friend.
Not a problem. We got some solid legends who know more than a thing or two about the Outlands. Gibraltar, Mirage, even Wraith. That one's a bit of a head case. Good luck.
Data points received. Chevrex is AJ's family's company, based in the Outlands, originally named AI Logic, and partnered with Kodai Industries. This company is known for having built robotic security systems for generations throughout the frontier. Lifeline's family profited off war for generations and served both sides during the Frontier War and the Outlands Civil War. This discovery pushed her away from her family into a new life as a humanitarian. Lifeline and Octane were friends since they were kids. See Octane for more stories. The history of the frontier dates back to 2122. See Lifeline's tablet for reference. The militia took power before the final battle at the IMC-controlled planet of Gridiron. But the result of that battle is still a mystery. See Bangalore for more information. A big blackout shut down IMC beacons and ended communication throughout the frontier and Outlands over a decade ago. Those who supported the militia were promised refuge, but no one came. The militia abandoned those people. Gibraltar, Mirage, and Wraith are some of the legends who can speak more to the history of the Outlands. A treaty by the Mercenary Syndicate helped end the Civil War in 2723. Those who signed became a part of Syndicate space. Those who didn't became the Fringe Worlds. More information can be learned from Gibraltar and Mirage. End Chapter 1. Well, guys, that's it for Chapter 1 of Pathfinder's Quest, the Apex Legends lore book. Again, I did my best with the voices, guys. Don't rip into me too hard. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. And don't forget, if you want to play better Apex Legends, make sure you're drinking Juju Energy. Juju Energy is a focus drink formulated specifically to give you all the energy and focus you need for hardcore gaming without any of the jitters. It also supports your eye health with their custom proprietary blend of Ludamax 2020 mixed into the drink. Make sure to use the link in the description down below to check them out, and use code NOCT at checkout to save 10% off site-wide. And to make sure the next chapter of Pathfinder's Quest ends up on your recommended page, make sure to like this video, subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of content. I'm NoctWolfe, and I'll see you in the next one, Wolfpack.